Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Burwell, and I am nobody but a fellow bricklayer just like yourself. So, over the course of the next few minutes, I want you to do something. First of all, we've been dealing with this phenomenal conference already, and I'm pretty sure some of you have been taking notes, and some of you have been doing it by hand, some of you have been doing it with the phone. I want you to stop taking notes. I don't want you to write anything down for the next few minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to have a heart-to-heart. This is family talking. This is bricklayer to bricklayer. And I want to remind you of one single thing. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and I want you to say bricklayers. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and I want you to say bricklayers. And to do a test, I'm going to let Tone show you how it goes. So 1, 2, 3.
Bricklayers.
1, 2, 3.
Bricklayers.
Now on that third bricklayers, I want you to be quiet, but I want you to say bricklayers in your mind. So now all of you that are watching, I want you to do it. So you don't have to come off the mute. Jaymie won't let you anyway. But I do want you to still say it. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And now this one, I want you to be quiet, but I want you to say it in your mind. 1, 2, 3. Now that last one was the one that sounds even the loudest. That last one is the one that's going to determine what your future is going to be. That last one is the one that talks to you every single day. You don't realize it because most of the times when you hear it, it's telling you negative things. It's telling you bad things about yourself. It's telling you all the things that you need to prove that you can't do it. And so right now, that's the you that I'm talking to, not the one that's out there watching. I'm talking to the one that's inside. So just relax and sit down with me, right? So bricklayers, we're here to talk about what? We're talking about the behind the scenes bricks. And for me, in a nutshell, I think that means the best way to be seen is by doing the work when no one is looking. The best way to be seen is by doing the work when no one's looking. So what does that look like? Well, we were all in school at one time. You remember that note that you got that was passed to you that says, at 3 o'clock, it's me and you after school. And you think about how you felt. See, now it's not the time to start preparing. Now it's not the time to start doing push-ups. But what if you started doing push-ups? What if you was just getting ready 3 months ahead of time and that note got passed to you that says, 3 o'clock after school today, it's me and you. You now have the courage to send your own note back and say, it's on. You're prepared. You've been working for this for the last 3 months. See, that's a whole nother mindset. It reminds me, it's kind of like life, isn't it? Life does that to us. Life tells us every single day at 3 o'clock today after school, it's me and you. The problem with that is most of us didn't prepare. Most of us didn't prepare 1 month ahead. Most of us didn't prepare 2 months ahead, let alone 3 months ahead of time. So what do you do? What do you do in that moment? Well, this is the moment where people tend to say, I wish, I wish, I wish, I wish. And for us bricklayers, here's the problem with wishing. Wishing is almost the same as window shop. And typically when you window shop, you do that because you believe you cannot obtain what you're looking at. But here's the secret. What we're looking at is behind glass. It's not behind bars. You can actually get it. You can actually obtain it. And it's very simple. Here's the secret. You do the behind the scenes work. The behind the scenes work tells us everything we need to know about the adversity of what we want to accomplish. Heck, you've heard the saying, behind every closed door, there's another one. I didn't even have to finish the statement because you knew where I was going. But for us bricklayers, imagine this. What if you had the ability to actually open up that closed door and it showed up in the form of denial? And so the only way to receive your blessing is by being denied. Most people have a problem with that. Therefore, most of us never even get to the door to even find out if it's open or if it's closed for us. But there's beauty in that. I'll tell you an example of it. Suppose I go to the car dealership and I say, hey, I'd like to try that Mercedes right there. And the dealer says, well, Mr. Burwell, we already told you, you can't get this car. You can't afford it. And I say, I know I can't afford that car. But you see, something wonderful happened. I just attended this bricklayers conference this past weekend. Yeah, that's the plug. I just attended this bricklayers conference this past weekend. And what I found out in that bricklayers conference is that if you actually focus on the things that would quote unquote stop you from receiving what you want, that if you just take care of those steps, you can actually receive what's on the other end. So if you don't mind, I understand you said I can't get that car, but I would like to test drive that Mercedes. And afterwards, no problem. You can go ahead and deny me. However, once you deny me, I also would like my guide. And they'll look at me and say, what guide? Oh, I'm sorry. You call those the reasons why I can't have that Mercedes. I call them the steps that I need to take in order to receive it. And I think that that's the gap that most of us miss. Most of us don't like doing the hard work because we don't really understand what's on the other end of it. See, we all have goals, or we all have what we think are goals. And we don't work hard enough to obtain it because there's trickery in that. See, the goal is actually not the Mercedes-Benz. The goal is actually not whatever is in your future. That's just the outcome of the goal. So as far as bricklayers, no longer do we wish for anything. The things that we desire versus behind the scenes bricks, you put those two together and they will give us the obtained goal at the end. So when you get that goal at the end, we figure out that wasn't the goal, that was just the outcome. Because right now where we are is the outcome of everything that took place beforehand. So what we're going to get in the future is just the outcome of what we do after this weekend. And after this weekend, you have no more excuses. So how do you reach that goal that we think is a goal? It's simple. You find out every single step that's necessary. And the steps that's necessary, that's your actual goal. What if your goal was to do the hard work to afford something greater? Then that means at the end of it, you get to receive what everybody else called the goal, but you know that's just the result of the hard work that was actually done. Most people don't receive it, and now we understand why they don't have it. And literally nothing else has to be said after that. I mean, we had a wonderful weekend, so we could just leave right now. But I do have a few more minutes in the segment, so I guess I'll keep going. So I want you to think about this. Another secret. I can't tell you anything you don't already know. So why listen to me? Well, my sister, Debrina, she went to school for organizational development. And what they found out is that when you're teaching adults, you don't necessarily give them something new. I mean, sure, you could do procedures, sure, you could do systems, and you can learn that stuff, but you're not really teaching adults anything new. Here's what's happening. You're pulling out of them that which has been laid dormant for so long. Why? Well, because life sent them that note that said 3 o'clock, it's me and you. And it beat them down. But that won't beat us down anymore, and that won't be our problem, so we won't have to worry about that. So why can't I teach you anything new? Well, because you actually know what's needed. We're not here today to learn anything new. Each conference and each leader has their own culture. And I believe today we're not here for no reason. I believe that we all have purpose today. I believe that each one of you here actually have a reason to show up and to do something. And it involves you doing the behind the scenes work. It involves you being involved more than what the other person is. So you already know everything that I said already. You already know everything every other speaker said. But because life gave you a note, we just wanted to give you one as well to say you can do it. And you already know you can. Sometimes we just need a helping hand to go through that. So I don't want to talk to you about any new bricks. I don't want you to write anything down. I don't want you to have to discuss what's new and what's in the future and what do you have to accomplish. I want to give something else to you. Here's another big secret. I'm saying secret, I think, because Mama T was here using the word secret. So you got to make sure everybody gets Mama T's book. Mama T. All right, so here's another secret for you. I believe that alongside of me not being able to give you anything new, I think everyone should write a bio. And in this bio, you're going to write at the top of that page, this is the behind the scenes work. But not new behind the scenes work. It's the behind the scenes work that has already done. See, this behind the scenes work is so old that it's part of the very foundation as to why we're here. But we don't know because that first brick, when they lay it down, just not pretty. That first brick, when we lay it down, the mortar's all over it. We don't really recognize how beautiful it is until we see the whole thing done. So we don't even understand the power of that first brick being laid, which is called the foundation. So here's what we're gonna do. After this conference, we're not gonna worry about doing anything new. We're gonna dig into ourselves. Remember earlier when we said 1, 2, 3? Did you set it inside here? We're talking to that person right now, and everything that you have is already inside of you, and I'm gonna prove it. I wanna share a story with you about someone that, well, they didn't know how great they was because they never had a chance to actually look at their foundation until this wonderful day. See, this bricklayer, they have their own company, and then this bricklayer is also part of another company with 2 other business partners. And this bricklayer was also asked to sit on the board of another company. And this bricklayer was sitting there going, how are all these things possible? How could this be? See, one day, the bricklayer's business partner said, hey, we need a bio from you. And that bio is gonna go up on our website, and it's gonna let everyone know who we are and what we're about. This is the first time the bricklayer had to do anything of that magnitude, so they had no idea what to say. How am I supposed to write about myself? What am I supposed to do? This bricklayer was very confused and was wondering what accomplishments would they have. See, this bricklayer knew that they were the youngest of 6 children, and the oldest sibling had a business. The second oldest sibling had a business. And then the 3 siblings that are older than that one, well, they all had master's degrees, one from Temple, one from Penn State, and one from Bethune-Cookman. And then they just kept learning. They just kept learning. And then this one bricklayer, well, this bricklayer had 3s in school, and the 3s meant that they talked a lot. But the 3s were only a compliment to the Fs, to the Ds, and the occasional C in school. So this bricklayer is trying to figure out, how did I get here in this position? How do I actually add value to people? How did I actually be able for someone to say to them, I need your bio? This bricklayer was very confused because they did not look at their foundation. But it wasn't until they started writing their bio. And I would like for everyone here who's listening, when you leave, go write your foundation, AKA your bio. And here's what this bricklayer found out. That when they were in 10th grade, they were approached with this wonderful question by their nephew, who was younger than them, and said, Uncle, matter of fact, Uncle Bricklayer, what are you gonna be when you grow up? And this bricklayer was just highly confused and wasn't sure of anything. And that question posed them for day after day after day until they realized, I don't know what I'm gonna do. See, it's hard for me to read and it's hard for me to write, and I don't really have any special skills, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So when I get out of school, how do I handle this? Because everyone that came before me got good grades. And this bricklayer realized one day when he saw their big brother, because their big brother owned a barbershop, and this bricklayer would go into the barbershop, and this bricklayer would see every single day that the brother added value to people's life. And the bricklayer didn't know that at the time. The bricklayer just saw, wow, people gravitate so much to him. Not only was this brother cutting hair, but the brother was answering phones. The brother was saying hello to people who were coming in. The brother was receiving food from members of the community. What was not happening here? I mean, this was such an amazing feeling. And right there, that bricklayer knew, I want to be a barber. But here's what that bricklayer didn't know. It wasn't the barbering that made that person special. It was that person. And so as this bricklayer started modeling this brother, and they started doing everything the brother did, they said, well, hold on. People don't just allow you to cut their hair. So how do you make this work? That's when the bricklayer realized they had to learn this powerful skill of making people feel good about themselves. When's the time you made someone feel good about themselves? Not because you forced it, not because they forced you, but because it genuinely happened. And then think, when did it happen over and over and over again? And then think, what was I doing in that moment? And what was taking place? That's part of your gift. So as this bricklayer started learning how to make people feel good about themselves, that allowed people to open up and say, sure, I know you don't know how to cut hair, but I'm going to give you a chance anyway. And then that bricklayer wound up getting their first job. And all of these things is being written down in that bricklayer's bio, and they're starting to actually see, wow, I think I might know where this is going. And so the bricklayer winds up getting their first job, which was downtown at a market and research firm at that. And this bricklayer's job was to look at audio and video all day long. Like, for example, whoever's editing this conference, they're going to be looking at all of this audio and video all day long. And while this bricklayer was doing that, they found out, see, in these meetings and in these rooms, people sat down and they gathered around in these conferences and in these focus groups. They had to put something on the table, and then everybody had to say how they felt about it. Then they had to eat something. Then everybody had to say how it made them feel. Then they had to wear something, and all these different things was happening. And this bricklayer watched hour after hour after hour after hour. And they started learning what makes people think the way they do, what makes people act the way they do, what makes people feel the way they feel. How do you make someone upset? How do you make someone angry? How do you do all of these things? And this bricklayer was now understanding a skill that they didn't know at the time, but they were starting to understand what makes people tick. And see, if you know what makes somebody tick, and if you know how to make somebody feel good, imagine what you could do for someone. When's the last time that you made someone tick? When's the last time that you had someone do something that they didn't want to do, that they were supposed to do, that they could have done? There's another power for you. So now that this bricklayer is writing down in their bio, and they have to put down everything that they did, that bricklayer, remember, they wanted to be like their brothers. So now that they have a job, they said, well, I can go to school. So now this bricklayer goes to school to do hair. But in order to graduate, this bricklayer had to have 64 haircuts done. This bricklayer on graduation day found out not only did they have the 64 haircuts that was needed, but this bricklayer actually had 264 haircuts. See, while there was other people who was better barbers there, this bricklayer was the one who made everybody feel special. So even when that bricklayer was in class, they was always called out just to take care of somebody. Heck, they even helped start teaching the class how to do hair. And then something else special happened on that graduation day. Mind you, the school is only for 8 or 9 months. This bricklayer received an award that says School Encourager. And then this is when it became eye-opening. They forgot that all those years ago, before they even knew what was going on, they received an award for being School Encourager. So this isn't something new that's been happening. See, this is part of that foundation, the foundation from the bricks that we don't know because they're so far down. They had no idea all of these wonderful things were taking place. And so now this bricklayer has got his first job, and now this bricklayer is in a barbershop, but now this bricklayer realized, I want more, I need more. And not financially, and not cars, and not all these fancy things, but they just wanted to reach more people. They wanted to help more people. And one day this bricklayer started working for one of the top postal services in the country. And this bricklayer started working for the health and wellness department inside of this company. And their job was to go around and they talk to people, and they taught them about health, and they taught them about exercise, and they taught them how to take care of themselves. So now this bricklayer is getting experience of talking to people that they don't know, which we all know how hard that can be. And now you got to learn how to make people feel good in stressful situations. And now this bricklayer is paying so much attention to health and wellness for people, and they're starting to enjoy that too, right? And then one day at work, this bricklayer gets a phone call from a friend that says, hey, I want to introduce you to something. And this bricklayer goes and he starts working with this wonderful company in the telecom industry. And they started working with these two wonderful leaders named Casey Snyder and James Adams. And what they started learning how to do, this was such a pivotal moment. See, this moment was the first time that the bricklayer actually understood that what's been happening to me all this time is called personal development. This was the first time this bricklayer actually started reading and writing and paying attention to different things and understanding that all of these natural things that were taking place, how to actually use it in the right way. And this is the first time this bricklayer really started opening up and talking to people. And at this point, the bricklayer is a supervisor at their job. And now, not only was they a supervisor, but this bricklayer job was to train people. And now this bricklayer has the great fortune of how to teach someone something that they know so they can know it efficiently enough to do it without them. And we got to think about it. When you run a successful business, you want one that runs without you, right? See, most people, they want a business where they're the only person, they're the only one, they're the hot shot. But what happens if you get sick? See, you want your business to be so great that everyone can do it, but treat them so well that they don't want to leave. When's the last time you treated someone so well they didn't want to leave your side? When's the last time that you were like, hey, I was actually able to teach someone something that they can do it by themselves? So much so because I know it so deeply of myself. What is it that you know more than anybody else? What is it that you know that you don't even have to think about it? What is it that you know that you can talk about in your sleep? And this bricklayer is just compounding and just compounding and just compounding. And before you know it, the bricks are here. And now it's no longer down at the bottom at the foundation. They actually have a wall growing that they didn't even realize. And now this bricklayer takes a break, and this bricklayer starts a family. And now this bricklayer actually has little bricklayers of their own running around. But this bricklayer said, you know what? My father is greatly unhealthy. My grandmother passed away because she was unhealthy. I don't want this to be the fortune for me, and I don't want this to be the fortune for my family. And not to mention, I'm really loving personal development and I need to be around people. So this bricklayer wound up working with a great friend of his named Mars Story. And now this bricklayer is working with a health and wellness organization. And with this health and wellness organization, this bricklayer is now at the point where they're now helping lead coaching calls. They're now helping motivate people. They're now helping bring the show forward. And this bricklayer is still building up skills, still building up momentum, still not realizing everything that's taking place. And now this bricklayer is a big factor in the health and wellness world. And to take it even a step further, we all know how hard it is to get away from sugar, right? So this bricklayer wanted to do that. And one day they started doing martial arts and realized that it might give them the discipline to get away from some of them things. Because see, this bricklayer father had diabetes real bad and they didn't want to have any problems with that. And they know that it's sugar. So this bricklayer said, I'm going to learn martial arts just so I won't have sugar. By the way, you should try to without it for a while. And then when you get back to it, try it again with sugar and you'll see how horrible it is. But let's not make the sugar industry MBS. So never mind that part. So now this bricklayer has learned even more skills. Now this bricklayer is to the point where they're not only learning arts, they're not only learning how to help people, they're not only learning how to motivate people. Now, at the end of the story, and at the end of this bio, this bricklayer sits back and it looks at the finished product and says, wow, I think I'm starting to understand why I have value. I'm starting to understand why people want me around. I'm starting to understand why I can make this work. See, when the bricklayer was asked about creating their bio, they asked their business partner, why are you wanting me here? What's so special about me? How can I add value? Because you have a degree and I don't. Our other business partner has a degree and I don't. Both of you have combined of 40 years experience in the field and I don't. So what makes me special? And that bricklayer was really looking for something profound. And you know what the answer that bricklayer got? Their partner told them, quite frankly, without you, none of this will work. You need to be here. That response never made sense to that bricklayer until they actually looked at that full bio and see they found out that they did have skill, that they did have purpose, that they did have reason, because this whole thing that's been taking place, it's been building up the foundation, building up the wall, building everything up, and now they realize that the bricks are all the way up at the top. See, what have we not been paying attention to? The next thing that we want, we don't have to look nowhere else but inside of ourselves to reach it. That's literally it. Find out what life has made you a master of. And when you find out what life has made you a master of, and you focus on that, I promise you the world will focus on you. And this bricklayer, when they found out all that they had accomplished, they then finally understood what their value was. But they never would have known had they been asked to write their bio. So although I didn't want you to write right now, the one thing that I did want you to do is when we're done, I want you to write your bio. I want you to write your Bricklayers Foundation. And I want you to go back and figure out all the things that has taken place in your life that led you to where you are now so that you could be great. That's what we need. And I have one more thing that I would like to share with you before I leave. I have a note here, so I didn't want to make sure I forgot it. So I'm going to open this paper in dramatic fashion. Excuse me. Dramatic fashion. Oh yeah, I remember what it is. Okay, so listen, everyone, here we are. We're at the end of the segment, but we're not at the end of anything. We're actually just now getting started. And here's this message I want to leave with you. I want you to make your dream be to make dreams be. Make your dream be to make dreams be. See, your business, it serves you no purpose just by serving the purpose of the business. I want you to take other people's business as if it was your own and do for them more than what you would do for yourself. So imagine if you had 10 clients. In fact, imagine if Lady Todd is great. Everyone knows what she does. Everyone knows that if you need to write a book, you're going to go see her. And now imagine Lady Todd says, hey, not only am I going to help you write your book, but I'm going to wash your dishes. Nobody better not ask her to wash your dishes. Do not ask her to wash your dishes. I'm just using this as an example. But suppose she started doing more than what the business required. And suppose she did it for one person. Suppose she did it for 2 people. Suppose she did it for 3 people. And she kept going and kept going. And she did it for 10 people. Without wanting anything in return, she just knew to give more. On that 11th person, they'll come to her and say, hey, I heard about you. You're that person who changes lives. You're that person who does more than what's required of them. You're that person who goes a step further. And I need help. This is what I need you to do for me. And if you do this for me, I promise I will open up my account for you. Do more than what's required of you. You help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. But it all starts with that foundation. That's where your wealth is. It's in all the behind the scenes work. Thank you.